Tonight, a new study is raising questions about data collection on juvenile offenders in Maryland.
The Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office has argued some information being released doesn't tell the whole story. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost sat down with the Deputy Chief of the Juvenile Division to break down the data.
The Abell Foundation is out with this new report talking about what we know and don't know about Baltimore youth crime and justice. The details revealed tracking how many young people are involved in the criminal justice system is difficult. Baltimore Police, the Department of Juvenile Services, and the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office keep tabs on young offenders, but there is not a uniform way to track that data.
When I switched the numbers from calendar year to fiscal year, we still saw an increase from 10 years ago, and we saw a steady increase really from 2022 onward, and that is just not reflected in the Abell report.
Catherine Rosenblatt is the Deputy Chief of the Juvenile Division within the city's top prosecutor's office. She says juveniles facing felonies and crimes of violence charges are increasing.
So if you're looking only for arrests and you're only talking to the Baltimore Police Department, that's not going to capture every single case that the Baltimore Police Department even fully charged, because they sometimes don't arrest the youths, but they still charge them with offense.
The Abell report also noted that there are fewer complaints to the state's attorney's office from Baltimore City following the Juvenile Justice Reform Act of 2022. Why is that?
There would be fewer, perhaps, misdemeanor cases.
The Juvenile Justice Act of 2022 changed who could face charges and for what. Then lawmakers made some more adjustments just a few years later.
We started to see some sort of backlash against that, hence the revisions made last year, and the fact that the Department of Juvenile Services now has to forward every felony case to the state's attorney's office. One of the things that we found when I looked at the numbers for the Abell report was the total number of felonies charged by the state's attorney's office had actually increased in 2024 and in 2025.
Data from the state's attorney's office shows the roller coaster of information over the last decade. Total cases charged in 2015 was 1,821. That dropped to 314 in 2022. And for fiscal year 2025, that number was 1,147.
I mean, look how many felonies we charged.
Rosenblatt says changes in how misdemeanor cases are handled likely played a role. When you look at felony charges, the numbers show a different story. In 2015, there were 680 felonies charged, 245 in 2022, and it peaked so far in 2025 with 882 felony charges for young people. Crimes of violence also hit the highest level in 2025 with 484. That's up from just 139 in 2023 and 327 in 2015.
Crimes of violence are up over 100 cases, and handguns really tell the story.
The data also shows there were 125 gun possession charges in 2025, while 10 years ago, there were just 6. Rosenblatt argues without ensuring young offenders face consequences for their actions, including illegally carrying a gun, juveniles may believe there's no accountability.
So, of course, the worst case scenario would be more youth death from gun violence, but it would also be that the youth think that possessing a handgun is just one more thing that doesn't really matter.
The report says kids facing gun possession charges often end up in the juvenile system instead of the adult court, adding this finding should motivate lawmakers to consider whether mandatory prosecution in adult court for juvenile offenders is an efficient use of resources.
One more crime that they commit where there are no consequences.
Right now, there's a push growing in Annapolis to revisit how young offenders face charges. Senator Will Smith, a Democrat from Montgomery County and chair of the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee, led the charge to change where juveniles start their criminal justice journey. Following a report from a Juvenile Justice Commission that Senator Smith is a member of, he's renewed his effort to introduce similar legislation next year. But Rosenblatt argues the data she's using shows the trends are not improving.
I would think, though, that the legislators are also hearing from their constituents who have also been saying over the last 2 years or so that this doesn't make sense, that it's not what they're experiencing, and that the math isn't mathing.
Citing concerns with the Department of Juvenile Services, Senate President Bill Ferguson was not on board last session with changing automatic charging for young people. It's not clear if he will change his mind in 2026. The author of this report from the Abell Foundation says that the complaint data was pulled directly from the Department of Juvenile Services, adding that better data sharing could ensure that everyone is on the same page, especially when it comes to making decisions, as well as members of the public to have a better idea of what's really happening in their community streets. I also asked the author why this report was published now, considering the fact that it has been in the works for months. The author says this is when it was ready and they wanted to get it out now. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Hi, I'm Maxine Stryker. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and check out Fox Baltimore on social media to find more stories like this.